Okay, so welcome to my back kitchen. This is, as far as primitive goes, or antique goes, or building goes here at my home, this is my first place that I built. I built this as a place for people to gather. At first my family, and now bigger than that, my family and friends and the community. Even people I don't know come here to kind of hang out, eat pizza with me. So I want to take this time to show you this little room and just kind of what all is here. You know, I'll notice as there's people in here, their eyes sort of just wander everywhere because it kind of does take you back in time from the old wallpaper to the cast iron skillets that are hanging down in the corner. Now, that is just a old wagon wheel that I've taken and bent up some iron and hung my cast iron skillets on there. So that's just something I made that, you know, as far as authentic goes, I think that if to be a pioneer, you have to think like a pioneer. If they needed a place to hang something, they're just going to make a place to hang something. So that's sort of my rendition of that. A lot of things in here are gifts, things that I've found over time, things that people have given me. The old wooden barrel, that thing has been sitting in that corner for probably 3 or 4 years, and as you can see, it's a little crooked, and I don't know that I could move it and keep it together. So it has sort of been sitting there forever. On to, you know, and first off, this little nook was kind of my first brainchild when it come to here, to have a kitchen-like setup from the early, let's just say the early 1900s, maybe 10s, 20s. This door goes into my wood room. You open that door up, it is just packed full of wood. I heat my home with wood. If we get a huge pile of snow, the last thing I want to be doing is tracking out in the snow. Come out the back door of my house, which is here. Open this door, right there's all my firewood. Right now, it is stacked all the way from the ceiling to the roof, 15 feet through. So that is, there's plenty of wood in there, plus a bunch in the basement to get me through for the winter time. So that's what's behind that door. I don't want to open it now because it's just piled all with wood. It's just a stack of wood. On to the cook stove. This cook stove was given to me by a friend from his campsite. He was going over to more gas. Now this is wood coal fired and natural gas. So he was going over to all natural gas, or all, not natural gas, but propane. And this just didn't fit what he needed at the camp. So he gave me this. I went up and helped him install the other one. Right now I've got a really nice coal fire burning because it's a little chilly out this morning. It's supposed to warm up, so this is probably the last of what I'll fire this today. On over, of course, pizza peels hanging everywhere because of the oven outside, iron hanging everywhere. There's pots and pans, and you know, I've got a lot of stuff up front, but this is where this was my original place, so a lot of my original stuff is all hanging here. This is an oil lamp that comes down for easier lighting, and I believe that it also did that for getting it closer to the table. If you were playing card games or playing something around the table after dark. Remember, we have all kinds of lighting sources now, where back in those days they didn't have a lot, so it was important to try to get that lighting surface as close as you needed. If a wife was sitting knitting in the evening, she could pull this down and get it closer to the table. There's a bunch of shelving up here that's all made from, all of this old wood was a house that was built in Lisbon around the found of the town, maybe even prior to. They were tearing it down, found out it was a timber framed house when they were tearing it down, and I got all the pieces of wood and I just kept them because I really have a hard time throwing away the old wood that was, you know, most of this stuff predates our country. So, you know, you just can't, this old stuff, you just can't find it a lot anymore. So when someone's tearing something down that's got old wood in it, I'm likely to try to gather it up and stack it here somewhere. So anyway, that's what all this shelving is up here. This door goes into my basement where I have a wood furnace that I heat my home with. So when I need my firewood I come out here. I do not heat this room in the wintertime at all. Windows, same thing. You'll notice there's two different size windows. This one's really long, this one's square. This one I just love. I've never seen another one like it. So I needed that window here in the house. Butcher block. This is where I like to do all my prep work for my pizza, where I stretch out my dough. It's a nice solid base that I don't have to worry about moving around. This came from, I traded it for a chimney cap, and the person told me that it came from Boston, Massachusetts, where they were closing down some famous butcher shop. I had the news clipping from it. He gave it to me. I lost it. Have no idea what the famous butcher shop was, but it came out of Boston, Massachusetts. Okay, onto the side that I enjoy the most. So this room's a big L shape. So I'm directly in front of where the butcher block is. So straight across the room from there. So this corner is all, this room is all added on. The brick are just, I laid down a really nice sand bed, limestone sand bed, tamped it all, and then laid all these brick on here. They are just laid on here. They're just filled in between with sand. There's nothing fancy down here. This was not intended to live. This is intended to be an outside space to gather, to not worry about it when I mop the floor. You know, the dirt just sort of goes wherever it goes. I just don't care. It's just sort of a place for people to gather. So, of course, there's old benches and things for people to sit on. This thing I built out of redwood that I found and planed off. It was in a horse stable somewhere and was painted red. And I planed off just the red paint and built that out of it. All of this area here, I laid all the brick, dug the well by hand. It actually does work. All of this area here I typically have stacked with different crocks and things, but about a week ago I left the door open at night and a raccoon come in here looking for stuff, so everything that was on here got knocked off and broke, so I'll have to restock that. Okay. Kitchen sink back here is an old cast iron skillet, or excuse me, cast iron kettle that it was cracked really bad down one side, and you really can't tell what side it is now because I welded it all back together, ground it all off, and made it look like it does now, and then I painted it so it looks like a good kettle, but it's really not because it was cracked so severely. So I turned it into my kitchen sink, and then again, okay, well, I hope you enjoyed the tour. I forgot to mention that the hand pump over there came from the Demings company and was actually on my neighbor's back porch and has been there since the day it was made and sold, probably in the late 1800s. So anyway, he gave that to me, and it became part of our home here now where I put it to use. So hope you enjoyed the video. Everybody enjoy your weekend, and if time allows, I have a special video I want to do next week. So I'll catch you then.